I believe, right, essentially there are many different techniques that are being taught out there, but I believe it all boils down, not to the techniques, but ultimately, right, to three key principles. Because you can look at any form of techniques, feedback giving techniques out there, right? I'm sure, right, at the end of the day, right, they will all fulfill these three criteria. You know what these three criteria? I call it the SPH. Okay, number one, S stands for, that feedback that you give, right, must always be very specific. Okay, so you say, Jackie, why is it important for us to give a specific feedback? Now, because we all know that, specificity reinforces the behavior. Just remember this. Of course, right, there are two ways to go about being specific with your feedback. So when you give, for example, a positive feedback, why would you want to give a specific feedback? Because you want to encourage the person, right? Am I right? To do the same thing again. But you see, think about it, right? If you don't give a feedback which is specific to someone. Now imagine today your boss comes up to you and say, Pravin, I think you did an awesome job for the project. Keep it going. And Pravin will be thinking, right, boss, what did I do well for the project? Now, but imagine a boss comes up to Pravin and say, Pravin, whoa, why? Keep up the great job. I really love the way you're doing this in this project. In fact, I like the way you're committed, you're so hard work, you're so diligent with the details especially, right? Now, you know what's going to happen is that Pravin will now be very encouraged because he knows that being meticulous in what he does, right, is that which gives him the reward. So what's going to happen most likely to Pravin? Yeah, he will put in even more hard work. Does it make sense to you? Now, point number 2. Just remember this. The stronger the why, the smaller the how. Okay, point number 2, just write it somewhere. The stronger the why, the smaller the how. Now, what do I mean? Meaning to say, if you want to have a great feedback given to someone, always focus on the why. Focus less on the how or even the what. See, very often when I hear people giving feedback, people tend to put a lot of emphasis on the what. Am I right? Or the how. Let me tell you what you should do. You should be doing this. Now, have you ever, been in a situation where maybe you are a parent? How many of you are a parent? If you are a parent and you go up to your kids, have you realized, right, every time you can nag, and this, by the way, right, proves a point, Do you know why nagging is one of the worst communication skills out there? But it's interesting, right, we still all like to nag. Now, what is nagging? Nagging basically means, right, you tell and try to drill the same information to someone again and again, but it doesn't work. Have that ever happened to you? Or maybe you are not the one, you are the one on the receiving end. When someone nags at you, how many of you have ever been nagged into action? Wow, you know what? This guy, okay, enough of nagging, I will do something. Maybe you will do something, just for a short while, and then what happens? You revert to where you were previously. Because nagging rarely creates what? Lasting results. But you see, guys, if you can share the what? The purpose, the why behind the what. Now, you see, very often, right, when people are motivated, no, change in life is really a matter of your capability. Just remember this. Change in life is often a matter of motivation. So when a person is motivated to change, when you tell them the why, let me tell you why you should be doing this. Now, and that why must fulfill, right, not your desire for them to change, but what do they stand to benefit from changing? Last but not least, one of my favorite, tips on a good feedback is this. Now, ask yourself, right, is this feedback even what? Helpful to that individual? Is what I'm going to offer, the feedback to this person, is it going to help him? Let me give you a story, right? One of the most powerful stories that I once heard that literally transformed my life forever. And this principle, by the way, you could find even very helpful in your day-to-day life. Because remember, every day, right, we all have to give feedback to those around us on a constant basis. So this story that I'd like to share with you is a story about, Confucius. Okay, so how many of you know that Confucius, right, used to have a disciple, right? And this disciple, his name was Zigong. Okay, so who is this Zigong? He was one of this very diligent student of Confucius. So one day, what happened was that there was a visitor who came knocking on the door, right, of where Confucius was living, and he challenged Zigong. He said, "You know what? I've long heard about the wisdom of your master Confucius, and today I've come to challenge him, and I just like to see if he truly lives up to his reputation of being a wise person." But of course, Zigong said, "Please do not bother my master. Tell me what is it on your mind." And the prideful visitor said, "I have a question for you. Let me ask you this question. How many seasons are there in a year?" And you know what? Zigong pondered for a while. And he wondered, what do you mean, How many seasons a year? It's such a simple question, am I right? He says, of course there are 4 seasons in a year. But to his astonishment, right, the visitor ended up what? He burst out laughing. Right? He said, "You got it all wrong. There are only 3 seasons in a year." So, but Zigong argued and says, "No, my master once told me that there are 4 seasons in a year." So, in the end, these two men started an argument. So it was not long, that Confucius was woken by the commotion. So as he came out of his room, and he asked his student, "Student, what's going on right here?" And Zigong told him what had happened. But Confucius just remained silent as he took a close look at the visitor. And he turned towards Zigong and he said, "My dear disciple, this visitor is right. Indeed, there are only 3 seasons in a year." Now, while feeling very puzzled because of this high reverence for his master, Zigong kept silent. Now, until the visitor had left, and that was where Zigong asked his master politely, "Master, this is one thing that your disciple do not understand. There are indeed 4 seasons in a year. So why did you say that there are 3 seasons in a year?" When the visitor was asking that question. Now, anybody knows what was Confucius' answer? What was Confucius' answer to his disciple? And that was what he said. He said, "Did you notice that the visitor earlier was dressed in a green costume? Now, he is clearly a grasshopper in disguise." Now, do you know something about grasshoppers? Most grasshoppers can only survive the winter as an egg. Now, meaning to say, the adult grasshoppers would die when it gets too cold and wouldn't have been able to experience winter. My friends, what is the moral of the story? At the end of the day, right, sometimes what if, right, it's not a matter of whether we are right or we have the best feedback to give. Now, it's a matter of who we are addressing. And that goes for the same for the giving of feedback. When you understand who this person truly is, and what he is capable of receiving, now go to that person's level, and that will make your feedback highly and hugely